Leave now or else.
The man in the $1,000 suit slammed his fist on the table. Behind him, 12 armed men spread across Elena Torres's property like wolves circling wounded prey. He didn't know the woman standing in the doorway had killed 17 men in 3 countries. He didn't know she'd survived Hell Week when 247 men quit around her. He didn't know that threatening her dying grandmother was the last mistake he'd ever make. Rachel Torres smiled, the kind of smile that made Navy SEAL instructors nervous. Or else what? Beaufort, North Carolina, March 2024. They came for her family. They didn't know she was waiting. Before we continue, please subscribe to our channel and follow this story to the end. Comment your city below so I can see how far this story travels. The phone call came at 3:47 in the morning. Rachel Torres was already awake. She'd been awake for 3 days, running on coffee and adrenaline in a classified facility in Virginia, debriefing an operation she couldn't talk about to people who would never acknowledge it happened. Her personal phone buzzed on the metal desk. Unknown number. Beaufort area code. She answered. Rachel? It's Maya. Her younger sister's voice cracked on the second syllable. Maya never called. Not since their father's funeral 6 years ago. Not since Rachel had missed it because she was buried in a cave system in Afghanistan, hunting a man who'd killed 47 American soldiers. What's wrong? It's Grandma. She's... Maya's voice broke completely. You need to come home. Now. Rachel closed her eyes. Home. A word that had lost meaning somewhere between her 3rd deployment and her 4th commendation. How bad? Stage 4. Pancreatic. They're giving her 3 to 6 months. The room tilted. Elena Torres, 78 years old, 5 feet 2 inches of pure, stubborn fire. The woman who'd raised Rachel after her mother died in childbirth. The woman who'd held her at age 7 and said, You're going to do something special, mija. Something that matters. I'm on my way. Rachel hung up, looked at Commander Williams sitting across the table. I need emergency leave. Williams studied her face. Torres, we're in the middle of, my grandmother is dying. Williams had seen Rachel take a bullet in Mosul and keep moving. He'd seen her carry a wounded teammate 2 miles through enemy territory. He'd never seen her eyes look like they did now. Approved. Take what you need. The drive from Virginia to Beaufort took 7 hours. Rachel made it in 5. She pulled her truck onto the familiar gravel road at 11:23 in the morning. The Torres property spread out before her, 53 acres of protected wetlands, maritime forest, and pristine coastline that her great-grandfather had purchased in 1952 for $1,200. The same property that Titan Coastal Holdings had been trying to buy for 15 years. The same property they'd offered $47 million for last summer. The same property her grandmother had refused to sell. Rachel parked in front of the old farmhouse. White paint peeling, porch sagging on one side. Wind chimes her grandfather had made 40 years ago, still singing in the salt breeze. The front door opened. Maya stood there, 28 years old. Same dark hair as Rachel, same sharp features, but softer somehow. Less scarred by the world. They stared at each other for a long moment. You look like hell, Maya said. Good to see you too. Maya's face crumbled. She crossed the porch in 3 steps and wrapped her arms around Rachel. For a moment, they were just sisters again. Not the journalist who'd written 3 articles about military corruption. Not the SEAL who'd missed every birthday, every holiday, every moment that mattered. Just 2 women who were about to lose the last person who'd held them together. She's in the back bedroom, Maya whispered. She's been asking for you. Rachel walked through the house she'd grown up in. Past the kitchen where her grandmother had taught her to make tamales. Past the living room where she'd done homework by the fire. Past the photographs on the wall. Her grandfather in his marine dress blues. Her father at his graduation from medical school. Her mother holding a newborn Rachel in the hospital. The back bedroom door was open. Ina Torres sat propped against pillows, oxygen tubes in her nose, looking out the window at the marsh she'd protected her entire life. She turned when Rachel entered, her eyes, still sharp, still fierce, filled with tears. "Mija, you came." Rachel crossed the room, knelt beside the bed, took her grandmother's thin hand. "I'm sorry it took so long." "You're here now. That's what matters." Elena squeezed her hand with surprising strength. "We need to talk about the land." "Grandma, you need to rest." "I'll rest when I'm dead. Right now, I need you to listen." Rachel straightened. She knew that tone. She'd inherited it. "Titan came again last week. They offered 50 million. I told them what I've told them for 15 years. This land is not for sale. Not now. Not ever." "What did they say?" Elena's jaw tightened. "The man in charge, Whitfield, his name is. He smiled at me, like I was a child, like I was too stupid to understand. He said, 'Mrs. Torres, you're running out of time. One way or another, this land will be ours.'" Rachel felt something cold settle in her chest. "What did you say?" "I told him to get off my property before I got my shotgun." Despite everything, Rachel almost smiled. "And?" He laughed, said I'd change my mind soon enough. Then he left. Elena's eyes hardened. 2 days later, I got the diagnosis. Coincidence, maybe, but I've lived long enough to know that coincidences are usually lies we tell ourselves. Rachel processed this. "You think Titan is connected to your diagnosis?" "I think Titan is connected to everything that's gone wrong in this county for the last 20 years, and I think they're running out of patience." The doorbell rang. Maya's voice from the front of the house. "I'll get it." Then, "What the hell do you want?" Rachel was moving before she consciously decided to. Down the hallway, into the living room, hand instinctively reaching for a weapon she wasn't carrying. 3 men stood on the front porch. Expensive suits, polished shoes. The one in the middle was tall, silver-haired, with the kind of smile that belonged on a shark. "Good morning," he said smoothly. "I'm Marcus Whitfield, Vice President of Acquisitions for Titan Coastal Holdings. I'm here to speak with Mrs. Torres." Maya blocked the doorway. "She's not feeling well. Come back, never." Whitfield's smile didn't waver. "I understand she's had some health challenges. We're here to offer our assistance. Our very generous assistance." Rachel stepped up beside Maya. She was wearing jeans, a black t-shirt, her hair still messy from the drive. She looked nothing like the woman who'd led tactical teams through the most dangerous places on Earth. But her eyes were different. Whitfield noticed. His smile flickered for just a moment. "And you are?" "Rachel Torres, Elena's granddaughter." "Ah, yes, the military one." Whitfield's tone dripped with condescension. "I believe you've been away for quite some time." "I'm home now." "So I see. Well, perhaps you can help your grandmother understand the situation. This property sits on some of the most valuable coastal real estate in North Carolina. We're prepared to offer $52 million, cash, immediate closing. We'll even cover all medical expenses for Mrs. Torres's treatment. The best doctors, the best facilities, whatever she needs." Rachel didn't blink. "The answer is no." Whitfield's smile tightened. "I don't think you understand. I understand perfectly. You want this land. You've wanted it for 15 years. You've tried buying it. You've tried pressuring local officials to condemn it. You've tried environmental challenges, eminent domain threats, and now you're trying to exploit a dying woman's medical bills. Rachel stepped closer. The answer is no. It will always be no. Now get off this property. Whitfield's eyes went cold. The mask slipped for just a second, revealing something ugly underneath. Miss Torres, I've done my research on you. Naval Special Warfare Command. Impressive record. Lots of classified operations. But this isn't Afghanistan. This isn't Syria. This is business. And in business, people who don't cooperate tend to find themselves in very difficult situations. Is that a threat? It's a statement of fact. Whitfield straightened his tie. Your grandmother has 30 days to accept our final offer. After that, we'll be pursuing other avenues. Legal avenues. Avenues that will be very unpleasant for your family. He turned to leave, then paused. Oh, and Miss Torres? Leave now, or else. That's not a threat either. It's friendly advice. Some fights can't be won with guns and training. Some fights are won by people with money and patience. We have both. He walked to the black SUV waiting in the driveway. His two associates followed. Rachel watched them drive away, memorizing the license plate, the faces, the way Whitfield had said, other avenues, like he was already planning something. Maya grabbed her arm. Rachel, what the hell was that? That was a man who thinks he can take whatever he wants. Can he? Rachel turned to face her sister. Not from us. That night, Rachel sat on the porch with her grandmother. The stars were brilliant overhead, no light pollution out here, just the same constellations her grandfather had taught her to navigate by when she was 6 years old. Tell me everything, Rachel said. From the beginning. Elena was quiet for a long moment. The oxygen machine hummed softly. It started small. 20 years ago, right after your grandfather died. A man came to the door, offered to buy the property. I said no. He came back the next month. I said no again. He kept coming. And then? Then things started happening. The county said our property taxes were miscalculated. We owed $30,000 in back taxes. We didn't. But fighting it took 2 years and every penny we had. Then they said the septic system violated code. Then the access road was suddenly county property and they tried to block it. Rachel felt the anger building. Why didn't you call me? You were in the middle of a war, Mija. What were you going to do? Come home and fight the county assessor's office? I would have come. I know. That's why I didn't call. You were doing something important, something that mattered. This was just an old woman fighting paperwork. Grandma, let me finish. Elena reached out and took Rachel's hand. 5 years ago, things changed. The man who'd been coming, he was replaced. Younger, smarter, more dangerous. That was when Whitfield took over. What did he do? He started buying everything around us. The Peterson farm to the north, the Miller property to the south, the Martinez family's land to the west. One by one, our neighbors disappeared, replaced by vacant lots that Titan bought and held. Rachel understood the strategy immediately. They're isolating you. Yes. And then, last year, they got to Judge Brennan. The county commissioner? He's been on Titan's payroll for 18 months. I can't prove it, but I know. Every permit we apply for gets denied. Every complaint we file gets lost. Every lawyer we hire suddenly has a conflict of interest. Rachel leaned forward. How do you know about Brennan? Elena smiled grimly. Because an old woman has time to watch and listen. And because I have friends who still believe in doing the right thing. Like who? Miguel Santos, deputy sheriff. You went to school together, remember? Rachel remembered. Skinny kid with too much ambition and not enough confidence. They'd been partners in chemistry class. He's been feeding the information. Carefully, quietly. Enough to know that Titan isn't just a real estate company. There's something much worse. Worse how? Elena was quiet for a long moment. When she spoke, her voice was barely above a whisper. There's a toxic waste dump on the old Martinez property. Titan's been using it for 3 years. Illegal disposal from their industrial clients. Miguel showed me the reports. Rachel felt her tactical mind clicking into gear. That's a federal crime. Yes, but the only people who can investigate are the county officials, and the county officials work for Titan. What about the EPA, the FBI? I tried, 2 years ago. Made anonymous complaints, sent documentation. Nothing happened. Elena's eyes were tired, but fierce. They have people everywhere, Mika. Everywhere that matters. Rachel sat back, processing. This wasn't just a land dispute. This was organized corruption on a massive scale. The kind of operation that took decades to build and billions of dollars to maintain. Why this land? She asked. Why is it worth so much to them? Elena was quiet for a long moment. Because of what's underneath it. What do you mean? Your grandfather found it 40 years ago. An underground aquifer. One of the largest freshwater sources on the Atlantic seaboard. He kept it secret because he knew what would happen if developers found out. Rachel stared at her grandmother. You're telling me there's a massive freshwater aquifer under this property? Enough to supply half the state for 100 years. Your grandfather had it tested. The water is pure. Purer than anything you can buy in a bottle. And with climate change, with droughts getting worse, with water becoming more valuable than oil, Elena's voice hardened. They don't want to build condos on this land, Mija. They want what's underneath it. The pieces clicked into place. $50 million wasn't a generous offer. It was a fraction of what that aquifer was worth. Does anyone else know? Just us, just the family. Your grandfather made me promise to never tell anyone. He said the day the world found out about that water was the day this land stopped being ours. Rachel looked out at the dark marsh, at the fireflies dancing over the grass, at the land her family had protected for 3 generations. They're not getting it, she said quietly. I know, Mika. That's why I called you home. Elena squeezed her hand. Not to save me. I'm past saving. But to save this land. To save what your grandfather built. To save what matters. Rachel met her grandmother's eyes. The same fire that had burned in her own eyes for 30 years. I'll need help. You'll have it. Miguel Santos will help. And there's a marine biologist, Dr. Sarah Chen, who's been investigating Titan's dumping. She has evidence. Real evidence. What about Maya? Elena smiled sadly. Your sister is angrier than she lets on. She's been investigating Titan for months. She just didn't want to worry me. Rachel thought about the 3 men on the porch, about Whitfield's cold smile, about the threat hidden beneath his polite words. They're going to come at us hard, she said, when they realize we're not backing down. I know. People could get hurt. I know that too. Elena's grip tightened. But some things are worth fighting for. Some things are worth dying for. You taught me that. Grandma, I never wanted. You wanted to protect people. You wanted to make a difference. You wanted to be the person who stands between the wolves and the innocent. Elena's eyes were bright with tears. I've never been more proud of anything in my life than I am of you, Rachel. Now it's time to bring those skills home." Rachel sat in silence, watching the stars wheel overhead. Somewhere out there, Marcus Whitfield was planning his next move. Somewhere, Judge Brennan was counting his money. Somewhere, the machinery of corruption was grinding forward, certain that nothing could stop it. They didn't know Rachel Torres. They didn't know what she'd survived, what she'd done, what she was capable of. They didn't know that the woman they'd just threatened had spent 15 years learning to be the most dangerous person in any room. They were about to find out. At 2:47 in the morning, Rachel's phone buzzed. Unknown number, local area code. She answered on the first ring. "Miss Torres?" A man's voice, nervous, hushed. "This is Miguel Santos. We need to talk, not over the phone, not anywhere public." "Where?" "The old lighthouse on Carrot Island. Sunrise. Come alone." The line went dead. Rachel stared at the phone for a long moment. Then she got up, pulled on her jacket, and checked the window. 2 cars she didn't recognize were parked on the road a quarter-mile away. No lights, no movement. They were watching. Good, she thought. Let them watch. Let them see what happens when they threaten the wrong family. Rachel reached Carrot Island at 5:47 in the morning. The water was cold, but she'd swum through worse in BUD/S training. She pulled herself onto the rocky shore, clothes dripping, and made her way to the old lighthouse. Miguel Santos was waiting inside. He'd changed since high school. Broader shoulders, harder eyes. The kind of face that had seen things it couldn't unsee. "You came alone," he said. "You asked me to." Miguel studied her for a long moment. "I wasn't sure you'd trust me." "I don't. But my grandmother does. That's enough for now." He almost smiled. "Fair enough. We don't have much time. I'm supposed to be on patrol in 40 minutes. "Then talk fast." Miguel pulled out a folder from inside his jacket. His hands were shaking slightly. 3 weeks ago, I responded to a call at the old Martinez property. Supposed to be a routine trespassing complaint. When I got there, I found 2 men in hazmat suits loading barrels into a truck. "What kind of barrels?" "Industrial waste. Chemical symbols I didn't recognize. They had Titan Coastal logos on their hard hats." Rachel took the folder. Inside were photographs, blurry but clear enough. Barrels with warning labels, men in protective gear, a truck with no license plates. "What happened when you reported it?" Miguel's jaw tightened. "I didn't get the chance. Judge Brennan called me into his office the next morning, said I'd been reassigned to night shifts, said if I ever went near that property again, I'd be terminated for cause." "He threatened you directly?" "He didn't have to. I got the message." Miguel's voice dropped. "But I kept copies of everything, and I've been watching, taking notes, building a case. A case you can't file because every official in this county is compromised. That's why I called you." Rachel flipped through the photographs. Her mind was already working. Tactical assessment, entry points, vulnerabilities, opportunities. "How many people know about this?" "Just me, and now you." Miguel hesitated. "There's someone else you should meet. Dr. Sarah Chen, marine biologist at the university. She's been studying water quality in the marshlands around your grandmother's property." "What did she find?" "Contamination, heavy metals, industrial solvents. All of it traced back to the Martinez property." Miguel's eyes met hers. "Rachel, whatever Titan is dumping out there, it's poisoning everything. The water, The fish, the people who eat the fish, and it's spreading toward the aquifer. Rachel felt the cold settle deeper into her bones, not from the wet clothes, from the realization of what Titan was really doing. "They're not just trying to steal the land," she said slowly. "They're contaminating it, destroying its value so they can buy it cheap. And once they own everything, they clean it up, tap the aquifer, and make billions." Miguel nodded grimly. "It's the perfect crime. Poison the land, blame the current owners, swoop in as saviors." "How long do we have?" "Dr. Chen says the contamination will reach your grandmother's property in 6 to 8 weeks. After that, the water underneath will be worthless." 6 weeks. Her grandmother had 3 to 6 months to live. Titan was trying to destroy everything before she even died. "Where can I find Dr. Chen?" "She has a research station on the university campus. But Rachel," Miguel grabbed her arm, "be careful. 2 weeks ago, someone broke into her lab, stole her hard drives. She's been getting threatening calls ever since." "She's still talking?" "She's stubborn, like someone else I remember from chemistry class." Rachel almost smiled. Almost. "I need everything you have. Every photograph, every document, every piece of evidence." "I can get it to you tonight. But Rachel, we need to be smart about this. If Titan finds out I'm helping you..." "They won't. Not yet." Rachel tucked the folder inside her jacket. "Keep doing your job. Keep your head down. When I need you, I'll reach out." She turned to leave. "Rachel," Miguel's voice stopped her. "Your grandmother, she's a good woman. She's been fighting this alone for years. I should have done more. You're doing it now. That's what matters." Rachel slipped back into the water and swam toward the mainland. The sun was rising. The day was beginning. And somewhere, Marcus Whitfield was making plans. She would be ready. Maya was waiting on the porch when Rachel returned. Her sister's face was pale, her eyes red from crying or lack of sleep, or both. "Where have you been?" "Meeting a friend." "At 6 in the morning? Soaking wet?" "It was a water-related meeting." Rachel climbed the porch steps. "We need to talk." They sat in the kitchen. Rachel made coffee while Maya paced. The morning light was harsh through the windows. "I've been investigating Titan for 8 months, Maya said finally. "I didn't want to tell Grandma, didn't want to worry her." "What did you find?" Maya pulled out her laptop, opened a file. "Titan Coastal Holdings is a subsidiary of a larger corporation called Meridian Industries. Meridian is owned by a private equity firm based in the Cayman Islands. The beneficial owners are hidden behind 17 layers of shell companies. Someone doesn't want to be found. It gets worse. I traced their operations across 6 states. Everywhere Titan goes, the same pattern emerges. They buy land, local officials suddenly become cooperative, environmental regulations mysteriously disappear, and anyone who opposes them faces lawsuits, harassment, or worse." "How much worse?" Maya's face darkened. In Florida, a county commissioner who refused to approve their permits died in a car accident. In Georgia, an environmental activist had her house burned down. In South Carolina, a journalist investigating them had a stroke at 42. Rachel processed this. "You think Titan is killing people?" "I think Titan is connected to people who kill people. And I think coming home just put a target on your back." "It put a target on all of us." Maya closed the laptop. "Rachel, I need to ask you something, and I need you to tell me the truth." "Ask." "Can you stop them? With all your training, all your experience, Can you actually stop a corporation with billions of dollars and connections everywhere? Rachel was quiet for a long moment. I don't know, she said finally, but I know that giving up guarantees they win. And I know that Grandma has spent her entire life protecting this land. I'm not going to let her die watching it get destroyed. Maya nodded slowly. Okay, then I'm in. Whatever you need. I need you to keep investigating. Dig deeper into Meridian. Find out who's really behind this. And what are you going to do? I'm going to meet Dr. Sarah Chen. And then I'm going to start making Marcus Whitfield very uncomfortable. The University Research Station was a small building on the edge of campus. Rachel found Dr. Sarah Chen in her office, surrounded by water samples and scientific equipment. Chen was 35, with sharp eyes behind wire-rimmed glasses and the exhausted look of someone who'd been fighting a losing battle for too long. "You're Elena Torres's granddaughter," she said, without preamble. "Miguel told me you might come. He told me you have evidence. I have data. Data showing systematic contamination of the coastal watershed. Data proving that industrial waste is being dumped illegally on properties owned by Titan Coastal." Chen's voice was bitter. "Data that no one will look at because everyone who matters has been bought." "Show me." Chen pulled up files on her computer. Charts, graphs, chemical analyses, water samples from dozens of locations. "See this?" She pointed to a map. "These are the contamination levels in the marsh water over the past 3 years. Normal levels should be in the blue range. Everything in red is toxic." The red areas formed a spreading stain from the Martinez property toward Elena Torres's land. "How long have you been documenting this?" 2 years. I've sent reports to the EPA, the State Environmental Agency, the County Health Department. Nothing. No response, no investigation, nothing. "Someone's blocking them." "Someone with a lot of power and a lot of money." Chen leaned back in her chair. 3 weeks ago, they broke into my lab, took my backup drives. I thought I'd lost everything. "But you didn't." Chen smiled grimly. "I'm a scientist. I keep backups of my backups. Everything's stored on encrypted cloud servers. But they don't know that." Rachel studied the woman, tired, scared, but still fighting. "Why are you doing this? Why risk everything?" "Because it's my job. Because the truth matters. Because..." Chen's voice caught. "Because my father was a fisherman. He worked these waters his whole life. He died of cancer 3 years ago. The same cancer that's showing up in elevated rates among people who eat fish from contaminated waters." "I'm sorry." "Don't be sorry. Help me stop them." Rachel made a decision. "I need copies of everything you have, all your data, all your analysis, everything." "What are you going to do with it?" "I'm going to find someone who can't be bought. Someone who will actually investigate." "Good luck with that. I've been looking for 2 years. "I know people you don't." Rachel stood. "Can you have everything ready by tomorrow?" "I can have it ready in 2 hours. "Then I'll be back in 2 hours." Rachel was halfway to the door when Chen called out, "Miss Torres, be careful. The last person who tried to expose Titan..." She didn't finish the sentence. "What happened to them?" "They disappeared. 6 months ago. A graduate student who was helping me collect samples. One day she was here, the next day she was gone. Police said she probably ran off with a boyfriend. But I knew her. She didn't have a boyfriend." Rachel felt the weight of that settle on her shoulders. Another victim. Another name on a growing list. "I'll be careful." "Don't be careful. Be smart. There's a difference." Rachel drove back toward the Torres property, her mind churning through options. She needed federal involvement, Someone with jurisdiction that superseded the corrupt local officials. FBI, EPA Criminal Division. Maybe even the Navy if she could prove national security implications. Her phone buzzed. Unknown number. She answered. Miss Torres. Marcus Whitfield's smooth voice. I hope you're having a pleasant morning. How did you get this number? I have resources, Miss Torres. Extensive resources, which is why I'm calling to offer you a personal opportunity. I'm not interested. Hear me out. I've done my research on you. Impressive service record, multiple commendations, the kind of person who accomplishes things. Whitfield paused. Titan could use someone like you. Head of security for our North Carolina operations. $200,000 a year, full benefits, corner office. You're trying to buy me. I'm trying to offer you a way out. Take the job, convince your grandmother to accept our offer, and everyone wins. She gets the best medical care money can buy. You get a career that doesn't involve getting shot at. Your sister gets to stop playing journalist and actually build a life. Rachel pulled the truck to the side of the road. Her hands were steady, but her heart was pounding. And if I say no? Then things get complicated. For everyone. Whitfield's voice hardened. I don't want to be your enemy, Miss Torres, but I will be if you force me to. Is that a threat? It's a reality check. You're one person. We're a corporation with resources you can't imagine. This land will be ours eventually. The only question is whether your family gets $50 million or nothing at all. Rachel was quiet for a long moment. Mr. Whitfield, let me tell you something about Navy SEALs. We don't fight fair. We don't follow rules. And we don't stop. Ever. You can throw money at me. You can threaten my family. You can buy every official in this state. But you can't buy me. And you can't scare me. I've faced men who wanted to kill me in ways you can't imagine. You're just a man in a suit with a checkbook. Miss Torres, we're done talking. The next time I see you on my grandmother's property, I'm calling the police. And if the police don't come, I'll handle it myself. She hung up. Her hands were shaking now, not from fear, from anger. Whitfield thought he could intimidate her, thought he could buy her, thought that money and power made him untouchable. He was wrong. When Rachel returned to the house, she found her grandmother sitting on the porch with a visitor, an old man with weathered hands and a face carved from decades of hard work. Rachel, Elena said, this is Jackson Webb. He owns the property north of ours. Owned, Jackson corrected. His voice was rough, tired. Past tense. Titan finally got it last month. Rachel sat down across from him. What happened? Same thing that happens to everyone. First the tax problems, then the code violations, then the lawsuits. I spent every penny I had fighting them in court. Lost anyway. Jackson's eyes were wet. That land's been in my family since my grandfather came back from World War II. 73 years. Gone in 18 months. I'm sorry. Don't be sorry. Fight them. Jackson leaned forward. I came here to warn you. They're escalating. Whatever you've seen so far is just the beginning. What do you mean? Week before I lost my property, someone poisoned my dogs. 2 days later, my barn burned down. Police said it was electrical, but I'd just had the wiring inspected 3 months before. Jackson's voice broke. They'll do anything to get what they want. Anything. Elena reached out and took the old man's hand. We know, Jackson. That's why my granddaughter is here. Jackson looked at Rachel. I heard you were some kind of soldier. Special forces or something. Navy SEAL. Can you stop them? Rachel thought about Whitfield's phone call, about Dr. Chen's missing graduate student, about the pattern of destruction that followed Titan everywhere they went. I'm going to try. Then you'll need this. Jackson pulled out a worn notebook. I've been keeping records for 5 years. Every suspicious thing that happened, every person who got threatened, every time something went wrong for someone who opposed Titan. He handed it to Rachel. There's names in there, dates, places. It's not much, but it's something. Rachel took the notebook. This could be dangerous for you. I'm 70 years old. I've got nothing left to lose. They took my land. They took my dogs. They took everything. Jackson's eyes hardened. I want to see them pay, whatever it takes. After Jackson left, Rachel sat with her grandmother on the porch. The sun was setting. The marsh birds were calling. It's bigger than I thought, Rachel said. Titan has been doing this for years, across multiple states. They have connections everywhere. I know, Mija. They're not going to stop. Even if they get this land, they'll keep going, keep destroying, keep hurting people. I know that too. Rachel looked at her grandmother, the woman who had raised her, the woman who had taught her what it meant to fight for something bigger than yourself. Why didn't you tell me sooner? I could have helped. Because you were saving the world. Because you were doing something important. Because... Elena's voice caught. Because I was proud of you. So proud. And I didn't want to pull you away from that. Grandma, this is important too. I know. I know that now. Elena reached out and took Rachel's hand. But I need you to promise me something. Anything. Don't become like them. Don't let this fight turn you into someone I wouldn't recognize. Win if you can, but win the right way. Rachel squeezed her grandmother's hand. I promise. At 11:47 that night, Rachel was reviewing the documents Miguel had delivered when she heard it. The sound of engines, multiple vehicles approaching without headlights. She moved to the window. 3 trucks were pulling into the driveway, dark figures emerging. At least 12 men. They were carrying baseball bats, crowbars, and they were headed for the house. Rachel moved fast. 15 years of combat training compressed into 3 seconds of decision-making. Maya, she hissed into the darkness. Get Grandma to the back bedroom. Lock the door. Don't come out until I tell you. Maya appeared in the hallway, eyes wide with fear. Rachel, what's happening? We have visitors. Go, now. Maya didn't argue. She disappeared toward their grandmother's room. Rachel grabbed her grandfather's shotgun from the closet, checked the chamber. Loaded. She pulled her phone out, dialed 911. 911, what's your emergency? This is Rachel Torres, 447 Marsh Road. Armed intruders on my property, at least 12 men. Send units immediately. Ma'am, please stay on the line. Rachel hung up. She knew how this worked. Response time in rural Beaufort County was 20 to 30 minutes. These men would be gone by then. Or she would be. She positioned herself by the front window. The men were spreading out. 2 heading toward the barn, 3 toward the dock, 7 approaching the house. The leader was a big man, 6'4" at least. He carried a crowbar like he knew how to use it. Rachel opened the front door and stepped onto the porch. The shotgun was visible, but not raised.
That's far enough.
The big man stopped. His face was covered with a black mask, but his eyes showed surprise. Go back inside, lady. This doesn't concern you. This is my property. Everything that happens here concerns me. Not anymore. The man took another step forward. Mrs. Torres has something that belongs to our employers. We're here to collect. Your employers can make an appointment during business hours. Right now, you're trespassing. I've already called the police." The man laughed. "Police won't get here for half an hour. We'll be long gone by then. Now put down the shotgun and step aside." Rachel didn't move. "I'm going to give you one chance," she said quietly. "Turn around, get in your trucks, drive away, never come back." "Or what?" "Or I'm going to hurt you. Badly. All of you." The men laughed. 12 against one woman with a shotgun. The math seemed obvious to them. They didn't know the math. The big man raised his crowbar and charged. Rachel moved. She sidestepped his swing, brought the shotgun butt up into his jaw. He went down hard. Before he hit the ground, she'd already turned to face the next two. They hesitated. That hesitation cost them. Rachel swept the first man's legs, dropped him onto his back. The second swung a baseball bat at her head. She ducked under it, drove her elbow into his solar plexus. He doubled over. She brought her knee up into his face. 3 down in 4 seconds. The remaining 4 men at the house stopped advancing. Their confidence was evaporating. "What the hell?" one of them started. "I'm a Navy SEAL," Rachel said, her voice calm and cold. "I've killed more men than you've met. You have 5 seconds to run." They ran. Rachel watched them scramble back to their trucks. The vehicles at the barn and dock were already moving, their occupants having witnessed what happened on the porch. In less than a minute, all 3 trucks were gone, taillights disappearing down the marsh road. Rachel stood alone on the porch, heart pounding, hands steady. The 3 men she'd dropped were groaning on the ground. She pulled out her phone, took photos of their faces before they could recover enough to run. "Maya," she called, "it's clear." Her sister emerged from the house, face pale. "Rachel, what happened? I heard—" "They left." Maya looked at the 3 men on the ground. "You did this? By yourself?" "They underestimated me. Most people do." The big man was stirring, trying to get up. Rachel put her foot on his chest, pushed him back down. "Who sent you?" "Go to hell." Rachel increased the pressure on his chest. "I'm going to ask one more time. Who sent you?" "I don't know. We got a call. Cash payment, no names." "How much?" $5,000 each. Just to scare you, that's all. Just to scare you." "Scare us into what?" "Leaving. Making the old lady sign the papers." The man's voice was desperate now. "I swear that's all I know. They said it would be easy, said nobody would get hurt." Rachel studied his face. He was telling the truth. Just hired muscle. Disposable. "Get up. Take your friends. Leave. And tell whoever hired you that the next time someone comes to this property with bad intentions, they won't be walking away." The man scrambled to his feet, helped his 2 companions up. They limped toward the road where one of the trucks had circled back to collect them. Maya watched them go. "Rachel, this is insane. They could have killed us." "They weren't here to kill. They were here to intimidate. There's a difference." "What if they come back? What if next time there's more of them?" "Then I'll need more ammunition." Elena's voice came from the doorway. "Rachel?" Rachel turned. Her grandmother stood in the entrance, leaning on her oxygen tank, face drawn, but eyes fierce. "Are they gone?" "They're gone." "Good." Elena's voice was steady. "Now come inside. We need to talk about what happens next." The police arrived 43 minutes later. A single deputy, not Miguel Santos. Deputy Frank Morrison was 52 years old with a gut that hung over his belt and eyes that didn't want to see anything that might cause him trouble. "So, you're saying 12 men came to your property and you fought them off yourself?" "3 of them. The others ran." Morrison looked skeptical. Ma'am, that's quite a story. It's not a story. It's what happened. I have photos of the 3 men I disabled. I can give you descriptions of their vehicles, license plates for 2 of the trucks. And you say they were sent by Titan Coastal Holdings? I'm saying they were hired by someone. They were told to intimidate us into selling our property. Morrison closed his notebook. Look, Miss Torres, I understand you're upset. But without witnesses, without evidence, I just gave you evidence. Photos, license plates, descriptions. Which I'll file in my report. But realistically, these kinds of things, property disputes, misunderstandings, they're hard to prosecute. Rachel felt the anger building. Misunderstandings? 12 men with weapons came to our home in the middle of the night. Did they actually threaten you verbally? Did they say specifically who sent them? They said they were here to make my grandmother sign papers. They said their employers sent them. But they didn't say Titan specifically. No, but then there's not much I can do. Morrison put his notebook away. I'd suggest you folks consider hiring private security. And maybe think about that offer Titan's been making. I hear it's very generous. Rachel stared at him. The message was clear. Morrison was either bought or afraid. Either way, no help would come from him. Thank you for your time, Deputy. Morrison nodded, walked to his car, drove away. Maya came out onto the porch. Did he just tell us to accept Titan's offer? Yes, so the police are useless. The local police are useless. But there are other options. Rachel made 2 phone calls that night. The first was to Commander Williams in Virginia. Torres? It's 2 in the morning. I know, sir. I need a favor. What kind of favor? I need you to contact someone at the FBI, someone high enough that local corruption can't touch them, someone who actually investigates corporate crime. Williams was quiet for a moment. This is about your grandmother? It's about a corporation that's been destroying communities across 6 states. Illegal dumping, bribery, intimidation, possibly murder. I have evidence, but every local channel is compromised. That's a big ask, Torres. I know, but I'm asking anyway. Another pause. I'll make some calls. Can't promise anything. Thank you, sir. Torres, be careful. Corporate criminals are different from the enemies you're used to. They don't fight fair, and they don't stop until they get what they want. Neither do I. The second call was to Dr. Sarah Chen. Miss Torres, do you know what time it is? I need that evidence. Tonight. All of it. What happened? They sent men to our house. 12 of them. It's escalating. Chen was quiet for a moment. I can meet you at the research station in an hour. I'll be there. Rachel drove to the university with her grandmother's shotgun on the passenger seat. The roads were empty. The night was dark. Her mind was racing through options, contingencies, plans. Dr. Chen was waiting outside the research station. She looked scared. They were here, Chen said immediately. About an hour ago. 2 men. They tried to get into the building. Campus security scared them off, but they're getting desperate. They know we're building a case. They know time is running out. Rachel followed Chen inside. The scientist's office was cluttered with papers, samples, equipment. Chen moved to her computer, began downloading files onto a secure drive. Everything's here. Water samples, chemical analyses, GPS coordinates of dumping sites, financial records showing payments from Titan to local officials. Chen's hands were shaking. I've been building this for 2 years. It's enough to bring them down, if someone will actually look at it. Someone will. I'm making sure of it. Chen handed her the drive. Miss Torres, there's something else. Something I haven't told anyone. What? The graduate student who disappeared, Emily Parker. I found something in her research notes after she was gone. Chen pulled out a worn notebook. She wasn't just collecting water samples. She was tracking where the contamination came from. She found the source. What source? There's a facility, underground, on the Martinez property. Emily mapped the entrance before she disappeared. She was planning to document it. Rachel took the notebook. Emily Parker's handwriting was neat, precise, detailed observations, GPS coordinates, diagrams. She found it, and then she vanished. I think they caught her. Chen's voice broke. I think she's dead. And I think it's my fault for getting her involved. Rachel put her hand on Chen's shoulder. It's not your fault. Titan did this, not you. Can you stop them? I'm going to try. Rachel left the research station with the evidence drive and Emily Parker's notebook. The sky was beginning to lighten in the east. Dawn was coming. Her phone buzzed. Unknown number. She answered. Miss Torres? Marcus Whitfield's voice was different now, harder, angrier. I heard you had some visitors last night. Your visitors. Your hired thugs. I don't know what you're talking about, but I do know that you've been meeting with Dr. Chen, and I know that you've been collecting evidence that doesn't belong to you. Evidence of your crimes belongs to everyone. Crimes? We're a legitimate business, Miss Torres. Everything we do is legal. Dumping toxic waste is legal? Bribing public officials is legal? Sending armed men to terrorize an elderly woman is legal. Whitfield laughed softly. You have a wild imagination. But imagination isn't evidence, and evidence has a way of disappearing in this county. Not this time. Miss Torres, I'm going to give you one final opportunity. Walk away. Take your sister. Leave your grandmother to make her own decisions. We'll give you 24 hours to leave Beaufort County. After that, I can't guarantee your safety. Is that a threat? It's a promise. You've made a lot of noise in the past few days. Important people are getting annoyed. And when important people get annoyed, bad things happen to the people who annoy them. I've faced worse than annoyed businessmen. Have you? Have you faced the kind of people who can destroy your life without leaving a trace? Who can make you disappear and no one will ever know what happened? Who can reach out and touch anyone you care about, anywhere in the world? Rachel's blood went cold. Leave my family out of this. That's entirely up to you. 24 hours, Miss Torres. Clock starts now. The line went dead. Rachel sat in her truck, hands gripping the steering wheel. Midfield had just made the stakes clear. This wasn't just about land anymore. This was about survival. Her phone buzzed again, text from Maya. Come home now. Grandma collapsed. Ambulance on the way. Rachel drove, fast, faster than she'd ever driven. She arrived at the house just as the ambulance was loading her grandmother. Elena's face was gray, her breathing shallow. An oxygen mask covered her nose and mouth. What happened? Rachel grabbed Maya's arm. I don't know. She was fine one minute, then she just collapsed. She was having trouble breathing. She couldn't. Which hospital? Beaufort Memorial. I'm riding with her. Maya climbed into the ambulance. The doors closed. The vehicle pulled away, sirens wailing. Rachel stood alone in the driveway. Dawn breaking over the marsh. Her grandmother fighting for her life. 24 hours, Whitfield had said. Rachel looked at the evidence drive in her hand. The notebook with Emily Parker's research. 24 hours to destroy everything Titan had built. 24 hours to save everything her grandmother had protected. She got in her truck and drove toward the hospital, but her mind was already working, planning, calculating, preparing for war. Elena Torres was stable but unconscious when Rachel reached Beaufort Memorial. The doctors spoke in careful, measured tones that told her everything she needed to know. "The cancer is progressing faster than we anticipated," Dr. Williams said. "The stress of recent events has accelerated the decline. We've made her comfortable, but..." "How long?" "Days. Maybe a week." The doctor paused. "I'm sorry." Rachel stood at her grandmother's bedside. The monitors beeped steadily. Elena's face was peaceful, almost serene. The fighter finally resting. Maya was crying quietly in the corner. "She was fine yesterday," Maya whispered. "She was sitting on the porch, watching the birds. She was talking about the spring migration. She was fine." "She wasn't fine. She was fighting. And fighting takes everything out of you." Rachel leaned down, kissed her grandmother's forehead. "I'm going to finish this," she whispered. "I promise you. I'm going to finish what you started." Elena's eyes flickered open. Just for a moment. Just long enough to squeeze Rachel's hand. "The land," Elena breathed. "Protect the land." "I will, Grandma. I will." Elena's eyes closed again. Her breathing steadied. She slipped back into unconsciousness. Rachel straightened. Her face was hard. Her eyes were dry. There would be time for grief later. Right now, there was work to do. "Maya, stay with her. Don't leave her alone." "Where are you going?" "To end this." Rachel drove to the old lighthouse on Carrot Island. Miguel Santos was waiting, as she'd asked. "I got your message," he said. "What's happening?" "Whitfield gave me 24 hours to leave town. My grandmother is dying in the hospital, and I have evidence that can destroy Titan." Rachel pulled out the drive and Emily Parker's notebook. "I need your help." Miguel looked at what she was holding. "What kind of evidence?" "Everything. The dumping, the bribes, the facility on the Martinez property, all of it." "Rachel, if you go public with this..." "I'm not going public. Not yet. I'm going to use it to set a trap." Miguel's eyes narrowed. "What kind of trap?" "Whitfield thinks he has me cornered. He thinks I'm scared and desperate. He thinks I'll run or fold." Rachel's voice was cold. "He's wrong. I'm going to make him come to me, and when he does, I'm going to have federal agents waiting." "Federal agents? How?" "Commander Williams made some calls. An FBI task force has been investigating Titan's operations across multiple states. They didn't have enough evidence to move. Now they do." Miguel stared at her. "You're serious?" "Dead serious. But I need your help. I need you to leak information to Judge Brennan. Make him think I'm planning to go to the press tomorrow morning with everything. Make him panic." "If Brennan panics, he'll call Whitfield." "Exactly. And Whitfield will make a move. He'll have to. He can't let this evidence go public." "And when he moves?" "The FBI will be watching. They'll catch him in the act. Conspiracy, obstruction, maybe worse." Miguel was quiet for a long moment. "This is dangerous, Rachel. If something goes wrong, something already went wrong. 12 men came to my home. My grandmother is dying. A graduate student disappeared because she got too close to the truth." Rachel's voice hardened. "I'm done playing defense. It's time to attack." Miguel nodded slowly. "What do you need me to do?" "Call Brennan. Tell him you heard from a source that I'm meeting with a reporter from the Washington Post tonight. Tell him I have documents, witnesses, everything. Tell him it's going to be front-page news by tomorrow afternoon." "And then?" "And then we wait." The call came at 4:47 in the afternoon. Rachel was sitting in her truck near the Torres property, watching the road. The FBI surveillance team was in position, 3 unmarked vehicles at strategic points around the area. Agent Sarah Mitchell was coordinating from a mobile command post 2 miles away. Her phone buzzed. Unknown number. "Ms. Torres?" Whitfield's voice was tight, controlled, but barely. "We need to meet." "I thought you gave me 24 hours. Circumstances have changed. I'm prepared to make you a very generous offer, one that will make all of this go away." "I'm listening." "Not over the phone. In person. 30 minutes. The old marina on Shackleford Banks. Come alone." "Why would I do that?" "Because if you don't, your grandmother's medical bills will become your sister's problem. And because I have something you want. Something that changes everything." "What?" "Information about your father." Rachel's blood went cold. Her father had died when she was 6. A fishing accident, her grandmother had said. His boat found empty. His body never recovered. "What do you know about my father?" 30 minutes. Come alone. Or don't come at all." The line went dead. Rachel sat frozen. Her father. A wound she'd buried so deep she'd almost forgotten it was there. Her phone buzzed again. Agent Mitchell. "Torres, we heard that. It's a trap." "I know." "You can't go alone. We need to adjust the plan." "No, this is what we wanted. He's making a move. He's trying to isolate you. Whatever he knows about your father, he's using it to manipulate you." "I know that too." Rachel's voice was steady. "But I'm still going." "Torres, have your team in position at the marina. If things go wrong, you move in. If things go right, you get Whitfield on tape admitting to everything." "And if he's planning to kill you?" "Then you'll have evidence of that, too." Rachel ended the call. She looked at the evidence drive on the seat beside her. Emily Parker's notebook. Everything they'd built. She picked up her phone, texted Maya. "Stay with Grandma. Whatever happens, don't leave her alone." Maya's response came immediately. "Rachel, what are you doing?" "Finishing this." The marina was abandoned. Had been for years. Rotting docks stretched into dark water. The smell of salt and decay hung in the air. Rachel arrived at exactly 5:17. 2 black SUVs were already parked near the main building. Whitfield stood between them, flanked by 4 men in dark suits. Rachel walked toward him. Alone. Unarmed. Whitfield smiled, that shark smile she'd come to hate. "Miss Torres, thank you for coming." "Talk fast. What do you know about my father?" "Straight to business. I appreciate that." Whitfield reached into his jacket, pulled out a folder. "Your father, Michael Torres, fisherman, husband, father, died in 2001 when his boat sank in a storm. Tragic accident." "That's not what you said on the phone." "No, it isn't." Whitfield opened the folder. "Your father didn't die in a storm, Miss Torres. His boat was deliberately sunk. The hull was sabotaged." Rachel felt the world tilt. "What?" "Your father discovered something." "Same thing your grandmother has been protecting all these years. The aquifer. The water underneath your property." He started asking questions, started talking to people who could help him protect it. Whitfield's voice was casual, almost bored. "Our predecessors at Titan decided he was a problem, so they eliminated him." Rachel's hands were shaking, not from fear, from rage. "You killed my father." "Not me personally. I wasn't even with the company then. But yes, Titan killed your father, just like they killed Emily Parker, just like they'll kill you if you don't walk away." "Why are you telling me this?" Because I want you to understand who you're dealing with. We've been doing this for 40 years. We've eliminated dozens of problems. Journalists, activists, politicians, anyone who gets in our way. Whitfield stepped closer. You're good, Miss Torres. Better than most. But you can't win this fight. No one can. Rachel forced herself to breathe. Focus. The FBI was listening, recording every word. So what's your offer? Leave tonight. Take your sister. We'll arrange for your grandmother's care, comfortable, peaceful. And we'll give you $5 million. Cash, untraceable. Enough to start over anywhere in the world. And if I don't, then you'll die. Not tonight, maybe not tomorrow, but soon. And it will look like an accident, just like your father, just like Emily Parker. And no one will ever know the truth. Rachel was quiet for a long moment. Can I ask you something? Of course. Did you really think this would work? Whitfield's smile flickered. Excuse me? Did you really think you could threaten me, tell me you murdered my father, and I would just walk away? I think you're a rational person. I think you understand the odds. I'm a Navy SEAL. We don't believe in odds. Rachel took a step closer. And we definitely don't walk away from people who threaten our families. Whitfield's expression changed. The confidence cracked. What are you? You're under arrest. The words came from behind Whitfield. Agent Mitchell and 6 FBI agents emerged from the abandoned building, weapons drawn. Whitfield spun around. His men reached for their weapons, but they were already surrounded. More agents appearing from the water, from the vehicles, from everywhere. Marcus Whitfield, you're under arrest for conspiracy to commit murder, environmental crimes, and racketeering. You have the right to remain silent. This is entrapment! Whitfield's voice was suddenly desperate. She set me up! This is illegal! You just admitted, on tape, to murdering her father, Mitchell said calmly. That's not entrapment. That's a confession. Whitfield's face went white. He turned to Rachel, eyes blazing with hatred. You think this is over? You think arresting me changes anything? Titan is bigger than one person. They'll send someone else. They'll never stop. Maybe. But you're done. Mitchell handcuffed Whitfield, started reading him his rights. The 4 bodyguards were already face down on the ground, hands behind their backs. Rachel watched them being loaded into federal vehicles. 23 years. 23 years since her father's death. 23 years of lies. Now she knew the truth. Her phone buzzed. Maya. Rachel, come to the hospital, now. Grandma is awake. She's asking for you. Elena Torres was sitting up when Rachel arrived. Still weak, still dying, but her eyes were clear. Maya stood by the window, tears streaming down her face. Mija. Elena's voice was barely a whisper. Come here. Rachel sat on the edge of the bed, took her grandmother's hand. I heard what happened. The nurses had the news on. Elena smiled weakly. They arrested him. They arrested him. And they're going to arrest a lot more people. The FBI is executing search warrants across 6 states. Titan is finished. And the land? Safe. Forever. They're designating it as protected federal wetlands. No one can ever develop it. Elena closed her eyes. A tear ran down her cheek. Your grandfather would be proud. Your father would be proud. Grandma, I know about Dad. I know what really happened. Elena's eyes opened. Pain flickered across her face. I wanted to protect you. I wanted you to remember him the way he was, not the way he died. He died protecting this family, protecting this land. Yes, he did. Elena squeezed Rachel's hand. And now you finished what he started. What we all started. Rachel leaned down, pressed her forehead against her grandmother's. I love you, Grandma. I love you too, Mika. More than you'll ever know. They stayed like that for a long moment. 3 generations of Torres women. Survivors. Fighters. Protectors. Outside the hospital window, the sun was setting over the marsh. The land Elena Torres had spent her life defending. The land that would remain wild and free for generations to come. Elena Torres died 3 days later. She passed quietly, surrounded by Rachel, Maya, and the sound of marsh birds calling through the open window. Her last words were simple, spoken to Rachel in a voice barely louder than a breath. You came home, Mika. You finally came home. Rachel held her grandmother's hand until the monitors went silent, until the nurses came, until Maya's sobs filled the room, and the weight of grief crashed down like a wave. 23 years after losing her father, Rachel Torres was alone again. But this time, she wasn't running. The funeral was held on the Torres property, under the ancient oak tree where 4 generations of the family had been laid to rest. Michael Torres, his father before him, his grandmother before that. Now Elena. Rachel stood at the graveside, watching the casket lower into the earth. Maya was beside her, face swollen from days of crying. Deputy Miguel Santos stood at a respectful distance, in full dress uniform. Dr. Sarah Chen was there too, along with Jackson Webb and a dozen others who had fought alongside Elena over the years. The priest spoke words about eternal rest and heavenly peace. Rachel barely heard them. She was thinking about her grandmother's hands, calloused from decades of work, gentle when they held a crying child, strong when they signed legal documents to fight off corporations, steady when they pointed a shotgun at intruders. Those hands were still now. Forever. Would anyone like to say a few words? The priest asked. Rachel stepped forward. My grandmother was 78 years old when she died. She spent 60 of those years protecting this land. Not because it was valuable, not because she wanted to get rich, but because she believed some things matter more than money. Rachel's voice cracked. She steadied herself. She taught me that home isn't just a place. It's a promise. A promise to protect what you love. A promise to stand up when it would be easier to sit down. A promise to fight when everyone tells you to give up. She looked at the faces around her. Old friends, new allies, a community that had almost been destroyed by greed and corruption. Elena Torres kept that promise for 60 years. Now it's our turn. The weeks after the funeral were chaos. FBI agents swarmed Beaufort County. Search warrants were executed at Judge Brennan's home, at Titan Coastal's regional offices, at the Martinez property where the illegal dumping facility was located. 17 people were arrested. 43 charges were filed. The investigation expanded to 5 additional states. Marcus Whitfield pleaded not guilty to all charges. His lawyers filed motion after motion, trying to suppress the recording from the marina. The judge denied every one. Your client confessed to murder on tape, the prosecutor said during the bail hearing. He's a flight risk and a danger to witnesses. Whitfield was denied bail. He would await trial in federal custody. Rachel testified before a grand jury for 6 hours. She told them everything. The threats, the intimidation, the 12 men who came to her home, the confession about her father's murder. When she finished, the lead prosecutor shook her hand. Miss Torres, you've helped us dismantle one of the largest corporate criminal enterprises in the Southeast. On behalf of the Justice Department, thank you. Don't thank me yet. Make sure they actually go to prison. They will. I promise you that. Maya's story ran in the Washington Post 2 weeks after the funeral. Corporate corruption exposed. How one family's fight revealed a decade of environmental crimes. The article was 6,000 words. It detailed Titan's operations across 6 states. The bribes, the dumping, the intimidation, the disappearances. Emily Parker's name was mentioned prominently. The FBI had found her remains buried on the Martinez property, along with evidence of 2 other victims. 3 families who had wondered for years what happened to their loved ones finally had answers. Maya called Rachel the night the article was published. It's getting picked up everywhere. CNN, MSNBC, the New York Times is doing a follow-up. This is actually happening. Good. Make sure they tell the truth. Rachel, there's something else. I've been offered a job. Senior investigative reporter at the Post. Full-time. D.C. Bureau. Rachel felt a mix of pride and something else. Something that felt like loss. That's incredible, Maya. You should take it. I know. Maya's voice caught. I don't want to leave you alone. After everything. I'm not alone. And you've been waiting your whole life for this opportunity. Take it. What about the land? What about Grandma's legacy? I'll take care of it. That's what I'm here for. Maya was quiet for a long moment. You're staying? In Beaufort? This is home. It's been home since before I was born. I just forgot that for a while. Rachel Torres, Navy SEAL, settling down in a small coastal town. Never thought I'd see the day. Neither did I. But people change. Missions change. This is my mission now. 3 months after Elena's death, Rachel received an unexpected visitor. She was working in the barn, repairing equipment that hadn't been touched in years, when a black sedan pulled into the driveway. Government plates. Commander Williams stepped out, looking uncomfortable in civilian clothes. Torres, you're a hard woman to find. I'm not hiding. What are you doing here? Delivering a message. In person. Williams reached into his jacket, pulled out an envelope. Official correspondence from the Secretary of the Navy. Rachel took the envelope, opened it, read the letter inside. They want me back. Not just back. They want you to lead a new task force. Counter corporate terrorism. Your experience with Titan makes you uniquely qualified. Rachel read the letter again. It was everything she'd once wanted. Recognition. Purpose. A mission that mattered. What's the assignment? Classified, but I can tell you it involves corporations using paramilitary tactics against environmental activists, indigenous communities, anyone who gets in their way. Titan was just the tip of the iceberg. Rachel looked out at the marsh, the same marsh her grandmother had protected for 60 years, the same marsh her father had died trying to save. I'm not leaving. Williams looked surprised. Torres, this is the opportunity of a lifetime. You'd be making a difference on a national scale. I'm already making a difference. Here, where it matters. You can't protect one piece of land forever. Other Titans will come, other corporations, other threats. I know. That's why I'm building something bigger. Williams studied her face. What are you building? A foundation. Elena Torres Foundation for Environmental Justice. We're going to help communities like mine fight back, provide legal support, document corporate crimes, connect local activists with federal investigators. You're going to be an activist? I'm going to be whatever this fight needs me to be. Williams was quiet for a long moment. Then he smiled. Your grandmother would be proud. I know. That's the point. The Elena Torres Foundation launched 6 months after Elena's death. Rachel used her Navy savings, combined with donations from supporters across the country who had read Maya's articles, to establish a headquarters on the family property. The old barn became an office. The farmhouse became a meeting space. Dr. Sarah Chen became the foundation's chief scientific advisor. Miguel Santos, who had resigned from the sheriff's department after Judge Brennan's arrest, became head of security. Jackson Webb volunteered to help train community members in documenting corporate crimes. Within the first year, the foundation helped 12 communities across the Southeast fight corporate land grabs. They won 8 of those battles. The other 4 were still ongoing. Rachel testified before Congress twice. She spoke at environmental conferences. She gave interviews to national media. But she always came home, always returned to the land her family had protected for generations. Maya visited when she could, between assignments that took her around the world. She won a Pulitzer Prize for her coverage of corporate environmental crimes. She dedicated the award to their grandmother. Elena Torres spent her life fighting for what she believed in, Maya said in her acceptance speech. She taught us that some battles are worth fighting even when you can't win. She was wrong about one thing, though. Sometimes you can win. Sometimes the truth actually matters. Sometimes the good guys come out on top. 1 year after Elena's death, Rachel stood alone at her grandmother's grave. The marsh was alive with spring migration. Birds her grandmother had spent decades protecting filled the air with song. "I met someone," Rachel said quietly. "His name is David, marine biologist, works with Sarah's team. He's kind, patient, doesn't push." She paused, listening to the birds. "Maya's pregnant, due in September. She's going to name the baby Elena if it's a girl, Michael if it's a boy. She wanted you to know." The wind rustled through the marsh grass. The foundation helped 23 communities this year. 23 families who didn't lose their land. 23 places that won't be destroyed by corporate greed. Rachel knelt down, placed her hand on the headstone. "I finally understand, Grandma. Why you never left. Why you fought so hard. Why this land mattered more than money or safety or even your own life." Her voice broke. "It's not about the land. It's about what the land represents. A place where families can build something, where children can grow up safe, where the water is clean and the air is pure, and corporations can't just take whatever they want." She wiped her eyes. "You taught me that home is worth fighting for. You taught me that some things can't be bought. You taught me that one person, standing firm, can change everything." Rachel stood up. "I'm not running anymore, Grandma. I'm staying. I'm fighting. I'm protecting what you built." She looked out over the marsh, the same view her grandmother had looked at for 60 years, the same view her father had died trying to protect. "They told us to leave or else. They said we couldn't win. They said we were just one family against a corporation with billions of dollars and connections everywhere." Rachel's voice hardened. "They were wrong. We didn't leave. We didn't back down. We fought. And we won." She touched the headstone one last time. "Rest easy, Grandma. The land is safe. The family is safe. The legacy continues." That evening, Rachel sat on the porch of the farmhouse. David was inside, cooking dinner. The marsh birds were settling in for the night. Her phone buzzed. Unknown number. She answered. "Miss Torres?" A woman's voice, scared, desperate. "My name is Maria Gonzalez. I live in Louisiana. A company called Meridian Holdings is trying to take our land. They're threatening us. My husband is missing. I don't know what to do. Rachel sat up straight. Tell me everything. I heard about you. I heard what you did in North Carolina. Someone said you help families like mine. I do. Where are you now? At my mother's house. We had to leave our home. They said if we didn't sign the papers, don't sign anything. Don't talk to anyone. I'm going to send someone to help you tonight. And tomorrow, I'm coming myself. You would do that? For us? That's what I do now. Rachel hung up, looked out at the marsh one last time. Another family. Another corporation. Another fight. She smiled. This was her mission now. This was her purpose. This was what Elena Torres had built, what Michael Torres had died for, what 4 generations of the family had protected. Not just land, not just water, not just one piece of coastline. A legacy of fighting back, a tradition of standing firm, a promise that some things would never be for sale. They told her to leave or else. She stayed. And she would keep staying, keep fighting, keep protecting, for as long as it took. Because that's what the Torres family did. That's what they had always done. And that's what they would always do. The marsh birds sang their evening song. The water lapped against the shore. The land stretched out, wild and free and protected. Rachel Torres stood up, walked inside, and began planning for tomorrow. The fight was never over. But neither was she.